Welcome to Astrobites, a podcast featuring tales of planetary alchemy to help you journey consciously and in tune with the universal space that surrounds you. I'm Sylvia Gersenzweig, your host. I follow the moon, and every 2 weeks I'll bring you something to munch on about the energies at play and how to best navigate them. Welcome everyone to this new episode of Astrobites featuring the Libra full moon in Aries. Full moons are the climax of the cycle and can stir wild emotions. At the same time, also clear and illuminating revelations that we might accept or we might react against. But in the Libra style, we need to observe them with a clear mind, a fair attitude, an element of detachment, if you wish. So this full moon happens October 20th at 10:56 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 7:56 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, at 27 degrees 26 minutes, involving the two constellations, Libra, where the sun is transiting, and Aries, where the moon shines her reflection and spell, bringing some completion over those new beginnings that took place, if you think or reflect on, back in April this year. Something to think about. So we can be flooded with insights of our memories, certain impressions that we have in this moment, sensations, or possibly old feelings brought into light with a new awareness that is here to bring completion and healing. A gift of a revelation, a gift of an insight. Because we're going through the constellation of Libra, and those insights spin around relating, so it always starts with oneself, with home. It has to do with relating to ourselves, and from that place, projecting our identity, our image, our decisions, our actions into the world by the means of this moon in Aries. So this full moon is very dynamic. It fires and propels us all into action, focusing on those objectives that need to support the balance between ourselves and others in our relating. And what's peculiar about this full moon is that it's joined by planets that recently started to move forward and out of their retrogradation, offering more support, more motivation, more trust, more momentum, more clarity, now that Mercury also turned direct, and Jupiter that turned direct as well, giving perspectives, new horizons. So I always see that as a moment where the gates open, especially with Saturn going in direct motions, like the senses, like the energy begins to move forward. The gatekeeper gives us that permission somehow. So the active element of fire can precipitate definitions or powerful and forceful experiences, since Mars, the Titan of war, held in peaceful Libra, is held accountable for rough or destructive behavior, but nevertheless can steer ruthless demeanor to the pursuing of ambitions and goals that are represented by the presence of Pluto in Capricorn. So it would be recommended to pace yourself, to process your intensity, your reactivity, act with moderation in the Libra style, evaluating, observing from the middle way, from the middle ground, from the center of your individual scale, with patience, with elegance, in the best of your ability, and be careful not to go to extremes, because this can be a very volatile and dangerous time as well, if you will. So on another note, we might be sensing to be called to act and fulfill long-term objectives, where we need to act in a radical way or show up as required. So here the invitation is to do it in a respectful way, supporting relationships of all kinds or any kind. As Mercury just turned direct on the 18th today, it's going to be in conversation with kind and loving Venus, and also the graceful Jupiter, perhaps problem solving over future expansive projects, new horizons, issues that might involve people or teams or communities, and bringing a wider perspective, perhaps the voices of all of the participants, or all the constituents of any particular group, and well into beginning of November. And all that is gradually developing now towards the end of October into the beginning of November. So it's a lovely moment where things are moving forward, that are expansive, are joyful, and with a new vision and so on. Now, it's important to remind you that we have this Uranus-Saturn tension going on this year, and it's like the new is pressing on the old, and the old also pressing on the new. That's how it feels. Yeah. So there's momentums that want to break through or break down, and Saturn is trying to be more conservative, trying to impose the old ways which no longer are suitable for the momentum of evolution that is taking place at this moment. So we might continue to experience some degree of turmoil and chaos, especially by the end of the year, the end of December, where Saturn and Uranus will be partil, will be exact, and so we might feel challenged at that time, and there might be events that are beyond our control. And again, it's the forces of the innovative life and systems that wants to break free into new developments or new projects that are completely new, and they're geared towards the future, and the future is Aquarian, is inclusive, it's growing bigger and bigger in co-participation and global integration, and so it's very interesting to see that process going on. So the dance will continue well into 2022, here and there, and so we'll see different rules or different regulations needing to hold back the the power of the Prometheus energy of Uranus, which is forging forward to future structures, different ones, new ones, that are reinvented. There's nothing to compare with. So the Saturnian energy wants to understand and put it in little boxes, or put it in a categories, or give it rules, give it certain structures that can work for everyone, and especially for the old systems that don't want to collapse, that they have a history of establishment, and they are noticing that they're crumbling. So of course there's reactivity on this, and there's going to be reactivity anyway. So the following last quarter of the moon will have the sun just already move into the constellation of Scorpio, deep waters, deep transformative waters, and the moon will be in Leo. So what calls in my vision is creativity and love coming from within our psyche, allowing ourselves to dive into the unknown, and from that place recognize the energy of passion, the energy that it wants to emerge, that is there, available to us, that we cannot rush. It's best if we don't rationalize it. And love, which is represented by Leo in its pure form, the heart, cannot be controlled or denied. So this is going to be, in my understanding, a major ego transmutation time and transformation. And bottom line, understanding the power of the heart. So I want to give you some heads up that I will be away in San Miguel de Allende for a few weeks. We'll try to record the new moon in Scorpio during the Day of the Dead celebrations, but since I won't be accessing my recording studio, I can only do it with my phone. I cannot promise I will be able to deliver. Just letting you know. Blessings to all in all ways, and until our next bite.